This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 139 of Banging on the Drum. Please go out there, like, subscribe, download, share with your friends. But as always, I'm your host, P-Dog, joined alongside our other host, M-Dog. And M-Dog, how are you doing this weekend?
So my day actually started off kind of shitty, but with the Packers win, everything's coming up roses. So had to go to a Christmas concert that started at 3 o'clock today.
Brutal. That is just an
Yeah.
egregious offense by whoever did that. That's jail time. That, like, if we get you to be the mayor of Wilton, you should be able to go to arrest the person who's
Lock
scheduling.
that dude up. Yeah. Yeah. So fair enough. And so I don't know. Like I just thought it was bad timing, right? So find a different day. Run it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Monday. Like there's no reason you had to run it on Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy because we had like a soft open that didn't go well, so we kind of talked about this a little bit. But I was blown away that you said that they're usually on the weekdays and then they
Yeah.
switch it to a
Yeah.
weekend. But yeah, prison time at the very least, like 5 years for that guy. Like he needs
Yeah.
to
He
go
needs to
learn this.
understand. He needs to understand that like the Packers are the most important thing. And like my son was sick, so there was like a potential for me to be. I shouldn't say was like is kind of sick, right? But he was healthy enough that he got up and sang and did his thing, belted it out, and then gave all his classmates a little bit more sickness. So
There we go. Well, this all being said, though, was the concert pretty good?
it's a elementary school Christmas concert, so it is what it is, right?
So it was
Good.
amazing.
It was amazing. No, so did get a couple of gems out of it. So so it's two different things. It was like kindergarten through third grade must be, and then fourth grade through sixth grade. And so my son does the first one from 3 to 4, the kindergarten through third. And so he's done. He's sitting in the bleachers with us, and then we get about like 25 minutes into my daughter's concert, and he goes, "This is so boring." I said, "Hey, it's okay, man. Like we're here, we're listening. You had fun when you were out there, and like it was the same type of thing." And he goes, "No, it wasn't. They got to listen to my beautiful voice. It was just classic. Just a great line.
You can
Just
tell
hilarious.
that's your kid, my man.
Oh yeah, I
That
know.
that
I
reminds me
know.
of something you would say for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I still think that's egregious. But I guess whatever.
And I did
You're
like so
over it.
I have YouTube TV, and so like I put it on my phone. The school has Wi-Fi. Like during all the time. I didn't have it up when any kids were singing, right? But I
Yeah.
did pull it up like if there was anything else going on.
I mean, the great commercial for YouTube TV right there. So, hey, YouTube TV sponsor us. Mike was using you at a kid's Christmas concert that happened on January 7th.
7th. Yep. Yeah. And so like I don't know if maybe I didn't explain that the teacher got COVID, and so
Yeah.
they canceled it before Christmas, and then they rescheduled it for today. And it was scheduled for like a Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and then
Yeah.
I think it was a Monday because they knew on Friday, and then they didn't even cancel it until the day of either, which just sloppy,
Yeah.
sloppy stuff out of old Brookwood,
Yeah. Brookwood School District. Dang, they need a new mayor in that town for sure.
for sure.
So Mike's gonna take that toll on. But anyways, let's get to the show here. Let's start with the betting stuff that nobody pays attention to, but that we keep up with.
I'm going to be back to even by the end of the season. I can feel it coming.
Yeah, dude. If we roll this into the playoffs, Mike is on an absolute heater. So currently he's 5-1 with a game pending. He took the Bills -2.5 at Miami. So currently that game's 14-7, but it's the third quarter. So plenty of game left.
And the Bills need to win to get in, I'm pretty sure.
No, both teams are in. So
Dang it.
yeah,
That makes it a lot tougher.
I can tell that's like where you went with a lot of your games. In my dumbass, dude, I cannot see a line to save my life right now. But you were right. You were gonna be correct early in the day, but then everything shook out the Bills' way. So like, where they had the most wild scenario,
Well,
they can go from going to be
go
the 2 seed to being out of the playoffs at the start of this day. But yeah, things broke their way. They definitely got a playoff spot. So now I think they're going for the 2, but whatever, 2 or 6 or 7, whatever the other one would be. But yeah, we're not
wild situation.
Yeah, we're not a Bills podcast here though. But yeah, Mike goes 5-1. He's plus 700. Nailed his double dog with the Titans, and then nailed his pounded game of the week for 300 big bongs with the Packers. And that is the only game that I got right, was my pounded game with the Packers. Other than that, I lost the rest of 5, and I am on the opposite side of Mike in the Bills at Dolphins game. So I got the Dolphins. I got the Dolphins at +3. Whatever. We'll let that slide. It's
there was a couple lines that were a little different. I actually took your line. I think in that maybe the Eagles game. Was that 5.5? Well, you had one at 5.5 instead of 5 or something like that. And I just left it whatever you had it on there.
Yeah, that was dumb of you because the game you followed me on is the only game you got wrong. So fading me right now is an electricity factory of you could be making a shit ton of money. But anyways, I'm going to pay the piper. We got my sun drop here where I almost reopened my finger where I cut my tendon off, had some PTSD right before the show, but
Yeah,
feeling
so
good.
I do think this is something that we'll probably have to consider. Pat's going to go here in 3, 2, 1, and blast off. He's taking that baby down. It is probably something that we need to consider if either of us gets a severe bodily injury, like cutting a tendon in half or something like that. We should probably stop with the shotgunning of things. However, I don't know if that's what we will do.
Oh,
Where you
done.
at? Do we got to stop if we slice a tendon in our hand opening a shotgun?
I think so because we would have had to cancel the episode. And I don't know if many people know this story about me, but I have one finger that doesn't operate as good as all the rest of my fingers from a very similar situation with a knife. I was cutting a zip tie and it was cutting hard, and I used a paring knife and I went straight through my finger, cut a tendon, had I don't know, it looked like Quentin Tarantino was directing the scene because I just had blood flying like all over this like brand new apartment that I got into. Because I remember when I got back from the hospital, everything was like said and done. There was blood on the ceiling. So I don't like I never thought that was like a real thing, but now I know you can cut something
It is.
and it can shoot blood and make the blood.
Uh, I've heard of it. Like, so I have a similar story about, but I was a pretty young kid. I was opening beef jerky and I sliced my finger like to the bone. Like it was
Ugh.
pretty nasty, but pretty sure I went through like a nerve ending because it couldn't even feel it. Right. So I like sliced it down pretty substantially. And then like I couldn't feel the end of my finger. I can now, which is good. So something good must happen. But then I've also heard of a lot of people slicing their hands open when they're trying to get avocados out.
Yep. I've heard that injury before too. But yeah, mine the jab straight through the finger. Like I could see the knife come out the other end. Like
Ooh, wow,
so
that is amazing.
yeah, so I missed the bone. Like it wasn't like the knife was like super far out the other end,
Yeah,
but like
still
it
that's
was
enough.
yeah, it was poking out the other end. But yeah, it was pretty gross. Yeah, it was a wild morning. One of the rougher mornings of my life. Because I was trying to open up a coffee can so I didn't even get coffee and I had to deal with that shit. So
Yeah,
that's
did they
it.
give you coffee at the hospital?
I don't think
Or they're
so.
like, is there anything we can get you? You're like, yeah, I need my coffee real
N-
fucking bad.
No, they stitched me up and sent me on my way. And it was so early in the morning that like no real doctor was in, and I was at like a military base. So it was just like I don't know, like a private. I feel like I mean it was
He
airman
just
first
put a
class.
band-aid on. He just put a band-aid on you, and he's like, all right,
He
see you
sent me on
later.
my way, and then I was working at a place where I couldn't have my cell phone, and went back to work that day after I got like stitched up, and I get out from the place and just check my phone for a second. I had like, yeah, I would say 5 missed calls with 5 messages like telling me I needed to get back to the hospital because they were supposed to put my hand in some sort of like thing because I don't even know, like, because I don't remember getting like an X-ray or anything or whatever they would do, like a MRI to see
Right.
if like a tendon was cut. But for some reason, like the doctor that looked at like the paperwork for it was like, yeah, they should have never sent you out because if I did something, like the tendon could have like snapped and went back, and then my finger would have been like permanently just pointed out. But you can even see it's like still kind of weird, like
Yeah.
when it's out. But whatever. Let's get into this
Everything
Packer
was all
breakdown.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
enough. That's enough.
yeah.
Trigger finger talk.
Yeah, no, I was as long as I could like do my golf swing and like swing things and like pick up things, I was fine. And that's where it's at. So just a little nicked up.
All right, we're going to jump straight into the Packers recap after that nice short intro today. And so, Packers versus Bears game recap. Bears receive the opening kick, complete the drive with a 50-yard Cairo Santos field goal. Packers get the ball going, a 12-play drive, resulting in a missed field goal from Anders Carlson. Devontae Wyatt gets a sack on 3rd down and long from the Packers 42 to force the Bears into a punting situation. 11-play drive with Love throwing to Wicks for a 10-yard touchdown puts the Packers up 7-3. Bears survive a 4th and 1 to end up finishing off the drive with a 39-yard field goal from Cairo Santos. Packers complete a pass to Wicks for a 3-yard gain at the Chicago 22. Time runs out in the half, and the Packers head into halftime with a 7-6 lead.
Okay, I want to touch this. Sorry, because I think this would be one of the ones like you were screaming for. This was probably like the most controversial play of the whole game. It was like a weird situation. Do you know what was happening when this?
No,
was
so this I
going on?
missed. I just saw what it was.
Yeah, so the Packers were set up. They were in field goal range. They did a good job of like getting themselves down into field goal range. Then they had a play where they had to take their last time out. And I think it was we can see for sure, but I think it was 11 seconds left on the clock. So they were already in field goal range. And this was weird to me because they threw like a short like out route. And Wicks did get out of bounds, but he was getting tackled backwards out of bounds. Like the call was right. I don't think like that was the argument, but it just seems like they should have just kicked the field goal if that's what their plan was to get like 3 more yards. But I guess the way that Carlson's been kicking, that one hurt. But yeah, that was an odd one. I'll let you get back to it.
All right. And the Packers get the ball after the Bears kick a touchback to open up the half. Packers drive all the way down the field, finishing up with another Wicks touchdown for 12 yards. Packers go up 14-6. 3rd and 7 from the Packers 48. Quay Walker gets a sack on Justin Fields to force a punt. 3rd and 2 for the Packers, and Jordan Love takes it on a keeper and fumbles. The Bears recover the ball and take over on their own 42. Bears capitalize on the turnover and get another field goal from Cairo Santos, this time from 35 yards out. 14-9, Packers still lead. Next drive, Love hits Reed for a 59-yard pass on the first throw, and the Packers stall out and settle for a 25-yard field goal from Anders Carlson. Packers end up with the lead at 17-9. Third down, Carl Brooks gets a sack. It forces the Bears to punt with about 6:15 left in the game, and the Bears are never able to get their hands on the ball again. And the Packers go to the playoffs with a big win over the Bears, 17-9.
Yes,
Let's
yes,
fucking
yes.
go.
Oh yeah, that was the quickest one. But yeah, this game, like looking back through all the stuff, and I mean the announcers were alluding to it and everything, but it was like a very, very, very clean game and like very substantial.
So I heard a stat on the radio in the first 3 quarters of that game, 0 flags.
Yeah, and then the first flag I think was on the Bears for holding, but it was like on a third down, and we didn't even accept it. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm trying to think of like when the first penalty came into play, but yeah, digging back into like a few of the things. So when we took that 25-yard field goal at the end, there was the weird play to Bo Milton in the back of the end zone where initially they called it incomplete and then they called it a touchdown on the field. So it wasn't even like reversed. Like one of the refs was just smart enough to be like, hey, dude, just call it a touchdown right now. And then we have to review it. So nobody has to like waste their shit. But he gets it out. And did you see the play?
Nope, this one I didn't see.
Yeah, I think it was right. Like it was kind of like a body catch. Like he definitely didn't catch it with his hands and he was like pinning it against his leg. And it looks like when he finally like had it pinned, his foot was out of bounds. So yeah, just a couple missed opportunities for the Packers that would have put this game quite a bit more out of hand.
Yeah.
Which this all being said, man, they played great. The defense looked great. Everybody played good. Like Carl Brooks was getting into the action. I want to see who Van Ness had a sack early in the game. Kenny Clark had a sack in this one. Devontae Wyatt had a sack in this one.
Walker had a sack.
Yep, Quay Walker. And it looks like I think we said that last week. We're like, we need to let Quay Walker be more athletic out there. And it looks like they're doing something. I know that I'm not the last of the great, like, watch this defense and let you know what they're doing. But it did look like they were playing a little bit more man out there, which was nice to see. And I think that will give our boy Joey B. Wow, now I can't even really remember his name. Yeah, Joe Barry. But yeah, I can't. Like he'll have some confidence to like change his play calling because I think he was like very stubborn going into like, hey, my system's gonna work. It's maybe the whole Novocaine speech, like it's like Novocaine, just give it time and it's gonna work. But and it didn't, and now it seems like there was some adjustments made on the outside. And another great thing that I seen coming in, Alexander had a hell of a game. He was making tackles, trying to shut down DJ Moore, who had 4 catches for 64 yards. I don't know if they all came against Alexander, but I mean we held the Bears to 148 yards passing, 75 yards rushing. So what is that? Roughly 225 yards?
Yeah, or so, right?
Yeah, 223 yards.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really good. Not that their offense is like the superpower or nothing like that, but I'll take it. That's an NFL team. I think like people are like, well, it's just the fucking Bears. I think the Bears are a much better team than they were when we faced them at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and you can't have it both ways. Like that's one thing. It's like, okay, now the Packers beat the Bears in pretty like commanding fashion. Like we said, missed a field goal, missed like an opportunity.
They dominated everything inside the game. Like the only thing that they didn't win was the turnover battle, which was 0-1, and the 4th down conversions, which was 1 they were 1 for 1, and we were 0 for 0.
Yeah, and the Bears are coming off a 5-2 stretch, I want to say, where they beat the Vikings, Lions, just barely lost to the Browns, which is like a playoff team.
Very good team.
Yeah, beat the Cardinals like they should, whooped the Falcons, and then came to Lambeau and just
got slotted.
Yeah, they did get beat. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but yeah, 3 at least. So 41-yard field goal, should almost be a give me. It is not for us this year. That's pretty scary going into the playoffs. That pretty consistently, Carlson's missing one of something every single game. If it isn't an extra point, it's a kick here or there. I think it's maybe too late to make a change, and we're going to have to ride with him.
I did see that you could sign Crosby off of the Giants practice squad if you really wanted to.
I would. I honestly would.
See, I'm ride or die. So at this point in the season, I should feel like renewed in that, like, hey, like let's figure this out and let's go for it all, right? Like go for the Super Bowl. But I'm like thrilled with the way this season has gone, whether it ends today or ends next Sunday or it ends on February 11th. I don't care. Like I'm very, very happy right now.
Yeah, no, I got greedy.
Satisfied with the team.
I'm very greedy with it because I think it's the crapshoot of all crapshoots in this playoffs, with the Eagles turning out to be, I don't even know what was, I've seen a picture of Hurts's middle finger.
So yeah, that was my pinky finger. He can play through that shit.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. I mean, I think they're 2-point favorites in Tampa. But yeah, Tampa is beatable. I think the Cowboys are very beatable. I think.
Yeah, so the real scary team in the NFC is the Niners, right? Like they're scary. Like they're a team that I don't understand how anyone else that is in the playoffs beats them from the NFC. And then I feel the same way about the Ravens, that whoever has to go into Baltimore and play Baltimore, I don't see how people win that game.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes because I mean, obviously, those are the two like betting odds favorites. I think it's San Francisco's like maybe like plus 220 and Baltimore's plus 300 or whatever that would be. But yeah, but getting back to like my initial point, I kind of went off on Carlson. But yeah, so there's six. So yeah, we left 10 points off the board that we probably should have had, or at least six. So I mean, get this game 23-9. That I mean, that's
so hold
pretty
on a
big
second
whooping.
because Bo Melton drops a touchdown pass, right?
Yep.
Because if he just catches this right off the jump, it's a touchdown. And Romeo Dobbs drops a touchdown pass. So I want to get into like some studs things real quick. So Jordan Love played like a stud today. 26 for 32, 2 touchdowns, 316 yards. 2 touchdowns got dropped.
Yep.
By the Packers, right? So in theory, right, like you could have had only 3 misses. I think it was 27 for 32 because it was 5.
Yeah, it was 27 for 32.
316 yards, 2 touchdowns. Played like an absolute stud. Aaron Jones, 21 carries for 111 yards, 22 carries for 111 yards. Killing it. Jaden Reed, 112 yards receiving. Awesome day.
4 catches.
4 catches for 112 yards. Dontavian Wicks, 2 touchdowns, 61 yards. Quay Walker, a sack, 6 tackles. That was the big one on the defense that I saw that had like a bunch. We had guys playing really well all over the field today.
Yeah, Owens was playing good too, like making some hits. I don't know. Yeah, like our whole defense just looked good all around. So we had 5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. Quay Walker led the team in tackles, like you said, with 9. Devondre Campbell was second with 8. So that's a nice thing to see is our safeties aren't leading our team in tackles this game. Savage was back. And
Alexander was back. You talked about him.
Yeah, and he came up with like a big play. And man, I don't know if I've gone an episode without mentioning Keyshawn Nixon, but he likes to stick his nose into shit. Like they had a QB sneak, and Nixon was the dude that was like, he wasn't like the initial one, but I think it was either Campbell or Quay that hit him first. But then Nixon was like right up over the pile and getting in there. So we got some nasty guys that want to make hits, make tackles on this defense, which I think it's great to see. And then it looked like we were saying earlier, like they were playing some more man, and I think the announcer said, I think either Romo hinted on it, probably Romo hinted on that they were getting their sacks when they started playing man. So bringing some heat, obviously bringing a lot of heat, sacking Fields 5 times, but he kind of sacks himself sometimes. So, but they took advantage of that at least.
Yeah, so him like pulling the ball down and then like looking for a run and then just doesn't gain yards, that turns into a sack for him, right? Which like that's what it is, but I understand why he gets sacked a little bit more.
Yep. Do you want to get into some SWAT? You did the studs, so I like that. I like that maybe for a segment is our studs of the game. Who are you giving out the best job to?
It's got to go to Love. I mean, so like he is the like kind of the driving force of all that stuff. If we're sitting where Wicks didn't get the touchdowns and Reed did with the 112 yards, I might do that, or Jones had, I might jump there. But I think that really we had a very complete game all around. And in all honesty, Reed and Wicks aren't our 1 or our 2 wide receiver. Like I shouldn't say in all honesty, I think Dobbs is going to be fluctuating between 2 and 4 pretty much his entire time in Green Bay, but like neither of those guys are considered our 1 currently.
Dude, they did not miss a beat. And I didn't realize Bo was like the speed demon that he is. They said it. He ran, I think he's like a 4.3 guy. So
yeah, speed wise, I think that he's like on par with Watson. I think the thing with Watson is that he has size as well, like height.
Yeah. But Bo Melton, man, he once again, the announcer kind of alluded to it, and I don't think it hurts that he was wearing 80, but he had a play where he was just fighting out there too. So he went from, man, he definitely took advantage of his like little opportunity that he was given, and he's one of my favorite guys out there. Like I trust every single one of these receivers. It doesn't seem like, I mean, you say like Dobbs and Bo, or I'm talking about the guys who dropped one. For some reason, it's not ringing a bell in my head. That must have been on the first drive where Dobbs dropped the touchdown.
Dobbs is falling back. He has the ball. Is falling backwards, and like,
yep. Because my wife thought
that's a ball like in the NFL you catch. And I said this early in the season. Like, I think guys mature into catching that ball, right? And going back to that, we were pissed at the wide receivers on this team early in the year, dropping balls, running the routes like kind of shaky. But like when these guys get passes too, they're like open by like 4 or 5 yards multiple times in a game.
Oh yeah, and then. Kraft is looking like the tight end like that will find a spot and get you 5 yards on, say, a second down to make it like third and manageable or whatever, catch that first down ball. But yeah, I really want to say like I'll put my hand up. Sometimes I have a hard time deciphering like if it's 11, 13, or 18 catching the ball because I mean they're all in that like digit and they all look good. Like so
they're all players. Like none of them are like none of them are like why are we even throwing the ball at them? I'm not feeling that way about any wide receiver on our team.
Yeah, and depending on like how this team turns out like down the future, I'm so high on this team right now that I think we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But
Of course,
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty, that would be quite the stretch. But man, the draft class, like the 2023 draft class, it looks like to me has a chance to go down in history of just one of the better draft class.
like is Packers draft classes or like in general?
I think. I mean, I don't know much about, like, I don't know if like
Right? Yeah, I don't know what.
the Ravens got Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in the same year or some shit like that. Because then you
Don't
like,
think they did. I think they're
yeah,
both
but
first round picks. But
yeah, but
no, I got you.
but yeah,
So
top to bottom, we got
yeah,
so much out of our rookies this year.
yeah. So I mean, so even so, I mean, so Sweat had 12 and a half sacks this year, but 6 were for like he led the team for the Bears and for the Commanders. So 6.5 maybe for the Commanders and 6 for the whatever it is, though, right?
Yeah.
So he led both teams. Van Ness had 4. Right?
Yeah.
So he's like right there on either of those teams for leading the team in sacks. He's close. And then second round pick is Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed looks like a Pro Bowler like every year.
He might be the one, honestly. Especially after seeing what he does today. I think he's the best wide receiver on the team. But I do think that
yeah,
availability quote, the best ability is availability.
Yep.
Has very much helped him out in this. But yeah,
so Musgrave and Kraft are both really good. Yep. Wicks is good.
Yeah, I didn't even realize
there's another second rounder in there though too that I'm missing.
Oh yeah, we can get to it real easy.
Clifford's a bum. We drafted Nichols. I think we cut him. I mean, come on, the guy was. I think like 12 guys, 11 or 12 guys made the team this year, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, Johnson, Iowa State safety, has played what I'm trying to say, played big time football. That's not what I really was looking to say, but like impactful. Yeah,
I got you.
But yeah, so if we get into the strengths, it's another game where it's just hard to find too many weaknesses and there's a lot of strengths. So I guess making it easy, pass rush, huge strength, 5 sacks, all over the thing. Run defense, holding them to 75 yards, great. Pass defense, they have 2 pretty big guys in DJ Moore, who's a stud, and Cole Kmet is a pretty damn good tight end. So those 2 guys did go off for 100 yards, but combined, they got 100 yards. But yeah, nothing really threatening in that department. So the defense was a strength, and then Jordan Love was the ultimate strength. Like, just dominated this game. Comes out biggest game of his career, sets the record. I want to say, or whatever is. They mentioned it on air that it was highest completion percentage in a game in like 40 years or something. I can't remember if it was just Packers Bears, but it was either second to Aaron Rodgers or he finished better than Aaron Rodgers in that game.
And so yards and touchdowns, the only other 2 guys that have done that in their first year are Mahomes and Warner. Both guys who didn't start in their first year, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, and they
first year starting, those are the only 2 guys that have yardage and touchdowns that are above what Love had.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I don't know, I always knock some of the Rams stuff because of some of the talent that they had around them, even though like I respect what Kurt Warner
in 10 years, we're gonna be like,
oh
Jordan Love wasn't even good. Look at all the talent.
Yeah, that would be great. But I'm pretty sure Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, and maybe Isaac Bruce.
I think Isaac Bruce is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, but I think they were already on like pace to be when he took over. But I could be wrong about that. That is scratching the brain a little bit.
I don't know about Torrey Holt, but Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce were both dudes when he took over.
Yeah. So yeah, strengths basically the whole team. So we'll get into the weaknesses. Carlson missed another kick is definitely, you can't feel too good about what our kicking situation is going into the playoffs. And a 41-yarder, just rough. A rough kicking game. I don't know if it's the holding snaps, like shanking it. Maybe we need to get our boy Chris Jackie back on to let us know. I know he was defending him a little bit.
He was defending Carlson.
Yeah, but
he defended Crosby. I think the year we had him on, Crosby was having a pretty rough year too.
He was, but I did see like Crosby and Carlson had like pretty similar stats because it was like when the Rodgers first year, Love first year, and where it was like at a point in the season where it was like almost identical stats. Yeah. He did Carlson to Crosby, and they were pretty identical as well. But I think it's fallen off from that. Where
it does feel like Carlson misses something every week. Like you said, maybe that was in our other.
No, it was in here.
That like he misses something every week, and that's pretty accurate, which can't be the case. Now, my attitude towards Carlson is that he's going to get better. His mind will be better, and I think that's the issue. Is like, I think with kickers, like it is the repeatable motion, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like for a playoff stretch.
No, this is not the best scenario to have this kicker in. But like my attitude towards the what the team did this year, like I'm just like made the playoffs, like that's almost like winning it all.
Yeah, but if you lose a game because you missed a field goal and you kind of had an opportunity to make a shift. I don't know,
Still, but like we had an opportunity to like do something about our special teams in 2022, and we just chose not to. And like we watched.
exactly. Like,
I'm just, I'm
are
just
you
saying,
proving my point
no, no,
for
I'm
me?
just saying, like I've watched all this shit before. Like I'm in those years, I did expect Super Bowls,
No,
right? Like
I
this
did
year, I
too.
coming in, I know for 100%, I was not thinking we had even like an opportunity at a Super Bowl.
Well, I think we always just sit on stuff being the optimistic people that we're on that
Yeah,
it's just going to fix itself. But I think we have like a proven track record where this shit doesn't do that all the time, and it hasn't for a long time. So if you have the opportunity to sign Crosby off of a squad, and he's been
okay,
kicking a little bit this year.
okay, but like here's my question. Like if and I this is what I think happens. I think Anders turns into Dan and becomes good. And so then like we're kicking ourselves when we can't find a kicker in 5 years, but this guy's fucking like elite. That's what I think happens.
That's what I hope happens. And I
No,
like,
like just hold him, like just hold him and move on, and then you have him for
yeah,
fucking 15 years.
let's put him on the practice squad, get a guy that we know hits everything from 50 in, and roll into the playoffs with that. But whatever. I am optimistic that he will have a good playoffs and it will fix itself. But that being said, I've thought that about our special teams. I've thought that about our
Oh
defense
yeah,
before.
yeah.
And it seems to have like the thing that rears its head during the year always comes up to rear its head in the playoff games, where this Dallas game is going to come down to we need to hit a 45-yard field goal or something.
Yep.
And then Carlson's out there and it's just in his head. Like, you can't tell me he even feels good going out to kick a game-winning 45-yard field goal right now.
No, and
He's
I
got
think
to be
that's
shitting bricks.
yeah,
Shitting bricks.
that's the issue. I think that's the issue is that like you don't have the confidence to hit it.
Yeah. But whatever.
I don't think like in we've talked about this type of stuff before, but it when it comes especially to the kicker, like if you're playing without confidence, you're fucked. You'll never hit anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I think if you have the opportunity to fix that before the playoffs, fix it. Whether it be we have to get rid of Carlson forever and then we kind of get screwed and don't have a kicker for a while. I hope
You
that doesn't
take the
happen.
Super Bowl over having a kicker. I get that. I would probably that's acceptable to me.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so rolling down to more weaknesses. Our defense kind of had some butterfingers today. So Valentine definitely should have picked one off. I can't remember if it was in a situation to ice the game, but it basically was. And it was just easy money. I want to say Cole Kmet was like wide open in the end zone, and Valentine started running for him, and Justin Fields just threw it to Valentine instead of throwing it to Cole Kmet. No, I mean, it was basically like a throw where if Fields like puts an arc under it, like Kmet's just wide open, but he just tried to throw it like straight through Valentine, and I can't even remember 37. Is it Valentine or Valentine? I think that's Valentine. Right?
See, I can't tell you.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's Valentine. But yeah, so we could have came up with at least a turnover there, and it would have been nice to get a turnover, but whatever. They didn't make many mistakes, so I will say that that's a weakness though. Like, if we can turn those balls over, like this game is just an absolute ass kicking there. That's what I got for weaknesses. Or
So what did we do anything that like was a potential weakness, right? That we're like we got away with.
Not really. Not that I can think of off the like top of my head. It did feel like there was some like Joe Barry-ish, like why we can't complain about Joe Barry in this game. And but like
And
obviously
it didn't like end up in a first down or like a 25-yard catch when it was 2nd and 19 or something like that. Nothing.
no,
like
because I won't even see like what because they were 3 of 11 on third downs, and you're gonna take that every single time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, nothing that reared its head too big. Played a super clean game. What do we got for penalties? We had one penalty for 5 yards. So we had
Rashawn
one,
Gary.
yeah. So I guess the jump off sides.
And it was on a third down or something like that.
Yeah, third and 5. Yeah. So yeah, they got a first down off of that. I guess you could say Love lost that fumble, but he was just trying to make a play, and honestly, it was a smart play. Just the defender's helmet hit the ball, and what are you going to do? Because it was 3rd and 3 or something, and he had the 3 yards, but he couldn't get the 3 yards and slide. So he was going for it. So he was going to take a hit, but yeah, lost that one. And they got very, I wouldn't say lucky because it was like pretty skillful how he did, but lots of times when you see a fumble on the sideline, like where he fumbled it, it's going to bounce out of bounds. But dude just picked it clean, and yeah. So, but yeah, so what do we go from? So opportunities. Yes, hopefully we get AJ Dillon back. And that's gonna be an opportunity. Watson. It looked like most of our defense was back on the field that we're gonna have throughout this playoff stretch. So just weapons that we were missing in this game that could come back in the playoffs. It definitely couldn't hurt, I don't think, unless it seems like all the guys like each other and are happy with other people's success. So, and definitely AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Like, I don't think there's ever any animosity between those two in the backfield.
Like it, right?
So that's an opportunity.
I think an opportunity, long-term opportunity here is that they're going to get playoff experience. So our team is super young, and the experience for the playoffs, you're going to get it one way or the other. Like, you're going to have guys that play in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the best case scenario is, I mean, they already basically have playoff experience from this game that they just played.
And maybe even the last two, right?
Yeah, like win and get in type games. But yeah, this season for a young football team, I think went about as good as it can go because you and I are always on the same page where we're like, screw like the first overall draft pick. Like just
Never won
start, yeah, start teaching people how to win. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to be. And whoever knows with like the first overall draft pick, like if you're really going to get that dude, like you'll probably get like a pretty damn good dude, especially if you're not looking for a quarterback in that spot. Quarterback, that's a crapshoot. But
I
like,
mean, only maybe. I think that there's guys in the top 5 that crap out consistently.
yeah. So whatever. I mean, yeah, that is a good opportunity. Like this whole season was great for our young guys. They learned how to win throughout the year, know how to dominate games. Another opportunity, get to go to Dallas, get to spoil Mike McCarthy's hopeful Cowboy season. So that's kind of fun. I'm trying to think of another opportunity that like came from this game. I think we still got more in the bag play calling wise, and that we didn't really have to pull out for beating the Vikings and the Bears, which is cool to see. And then yeah, I don't know. Do you got any other opportunities that you want to get into? That was pretty weak opportunities section as well.
I mean, so the opportunity, I guess, like outside of the other one, there's 2 long-term ones, like that I can think of, and one is like you get the experience in the playoffs, and really slightly shorter but still long-term. We get an opportunity to play for the Super Bowl, right? So,
Yeah.
If the Bears had won today, they don't even get that opportunity. We now have the opportunity to play for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think they're jacked up and I think they're ready to go. Like, I don't think this Packers team is like, oh, the Dallas Cowboys. I did see the line come out already, and the Packers are a 7-point dog in this game, which doesn't, like, as far
I
as
don't
Vegas
get it.
goes, yeah, that doesn't make me feel great. But it seems aggressively high. But I guess the Cowboys have been just such a great home team all season long. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels like the Packers can run on them, and they have so many weapons on the outside. So I don't think, I do think the Cowboys have a solid defense, but I think the Packers have so many weapons that I don't think that's going to be their issue. It's going to be, let's get to our threat here. If Joe Barry's willing to make adjustments, I just think Joe Barry's stubbornness is the biggest threat that we have. And watching today, like I said, not a great like film breakdown guy, but it did seem like he would mix it up, and it did seem like he was doing something on third downs differently to stop these guys. So I think if we can just be like, hey man, there's one guy on this team that we can't let beat us, and that's CeeDee Lamb right now. So Alexander,
Sure.
you know, that's Alexander's job. That's why he's getting paid. That's,
Oh yeah.
supposed to be
So
our
that's
best
what we
guy.
expect him to do.
Yeah. So
So
I think we got a great matchup on him. And then, I mean, I think the Packers match up pretty well to this Dallas team.
yeah, and I thought I had I think our threat, like another threat, is that we try to do too much with our special teams, like just play a clean game. I feel like that's kind of the way they tried to do things today. Is they just put Reed back there and they just said, we're probably going to ask you to fair catch it unless like something extreme happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that.
I'm
Which is
still
fine.
waiting.
I'd like Nixon to like blow something up. That'd be amazing. But I don't think our special teams is squared away enough for him to do that currently.
I've been hearing that quite a bit. So yeah, so they had 4 kick returns for 113 yards. So I guess that can get buttoned up a little bit. Obviously, you throw the Carlson's kicking game in. So yeah, that needs to get cleaned up. And I don't know, like, but I mean, we didn't have to punt at all this game, so I guess I don't know where you go with that. And that's, but yeah, that's a good sign. And it seems like what we got going in the punt return game is, like we said, like when we need the sure-handed, hey, we need a fair catch type deal, it's going to be Reed back there. And if we think we're going to get some room to roll, we put Nixon back there. And I think that's pretty good. So I might be missing something because I know you're not the only person I've heard say like, oh, our special teams isn't that good, unless they're talking about the kicking game, which I mean, obviously the special teams as well. Right. But yeah, I don't think our special teams is that bad.
Yeah, but we have a couple of like muffs where they put Toure back there. Like, what the fuck? Right.
Yeah, but that was like, I thought we accepted the fact that was the game was in hand, and we were like, hey, let's give him a shot.
The game is in hand, and we need to figure out if we can keep this guy on our team at all, right? Because he's not a wide receiver on this team. You can't keep 7 or whatever.
No, and Bo Milton definitely took his job. I think Bo is a damn good receiver.
You better know Bo.
Yep, I enjoy me some Bo. Threat. Like I said, I think my only threat I'm going to say is Joe Barry being stubborn and not being willing to change his game plan when he gets punched in the mouth.
The moment being too big is a threat to this team due to the fact that they're all young, right? Like, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think actually a lot of times with the young teams is they don't realize that this is hard to do, right? Because they just did it.
I think Romo said it. You don't know what you don't know. So
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's actually like a net positive for this team.
Generally,
being as young as it is. And then I guess the last threat I'll say is we definitely have the toughest road to the Super Bowl out of anybody, because we'd have to pick off the Cowboys in the wild card round, then we'd have to
The
pick
Niners.
off the Niners in the divisional round. And if you pick out the Niners in the divisional round, that's kind of like the Badgers beating Kentucky in the semifinals. But there's still even 2 more games to go. Like I think if you pick off the Niners, you're flying high. But if you pick out, I guess though, if you pick off the Cowboys and Niners, there's no other team in the NFC where I don't think the Packers.
The Lions, come on, man.
No, I mean, I think the Lions would be a great game. Like I don't think it would be as I don't think it would be the same as Thanksgiving. Like I think they would have figured something out by then.
Well, and so we got a couple of turnovers, which we never get. We don't get turnovers. Our defense isn't predicated on turnovers very much, and so we got a couple of turnovers in that game, and it got out of hand on them pretty quick.
Yeah. So I think that would be, but whatever. They're in the playoffs. They're rolling. Our season couldn't have gone.
It can go better.
It
It
can
can
go
go better, but it couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah. No, I really don't think
That's
so.
not true. There's
Yeah,
a
I
few
mean-
things that could have really went better, but really the result of making the playoffs is stunning to me. I
Yeah.
didn't think we even had any chance.
Yeah. And it, like, if you look at some of the losses along the way, the Falcons one was brutal. Should have beat the Raiders, should have beat the Broncos. So yeah, I mean, they were, yeah, I mean, 2 hiccups late in the season against the Giants and the Bucks. But yeah, I just think,
But the Giants and the Bucks beat us. It didn't feel like the Falcons beat us, and it didn't feel like the Raiders beat us. I can't remember the Broncos game offhand.
yeah, Broncos was 19-17. And I feel like that was one. It definitely felt like we should win because it was before the Broncos really started
Yeah,
getting their crap
that was
together.
really their kick. That was their kickoff game.
Yeah,
Because
basically.
everybody kept saying they beat the Chiefs and then somebody else that was really, really good. Eagles. No, I don't know. Chiefs and somebody else that was really good. And it was like, but they beat the Packers too. That's what really got them going.
Yep. That, I mean, definitely looks to be that way. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for this. Realistic Packer fan in me was always saying, like, outwardly, I would say, yeah, we need to make the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run. But is Love the dude? And that is a resounding A+. Yes. I don't even see how you could rate Love's season anything other than an A+.
Oh no, I do think Love's season is an A+. I don't think that after 1 year, now Jordan Love might be unique in this, right? I don't think after 1 year you can say this guy is a dude.
Oh, I did. I will and I can.
No, like I think he is. Like I just my expectations are tempered because I've seen a lot of guys in the NFL get like, oh my God, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then he comes back the next. So I think the most recent, probably best example is Mac Jones. The first year he was with the Patriots team, they go to the playoffs. They thought, oh my God, I can't believe they found the perfect guy for this offense. He does everything right. Everything's going smooth, and they benched him like 3 times this year.
Yeah, but I think
So I think
you were
I'm
gonna
just
get to
saying
it,
that
yeah.
like sometimes people can get figured out. Like Colin Kaepernick, I think is a prime example of this. Is a guy that comes in and people can't really understand how to defend him very well, and then everyone in the NFL, I shouldn't say everyone, but like 90% of the teams in the NFL figure out how to like contain him, and then he's not as good, right? The Packers never could figure out Kaepernick. They couldn't figure out how to contain him and like not let him rush for 250 yards every time he touched a field against the Packers. But everybody else seemed to be like, oh, you just do this, and then he's not as good. And that lasted like for like a 3-4 year stretch that he was elite, and then just kind of wasn't. Mac was elite for 1 year and then fell apart.
Yeah, I don't think Mac was elite. I think it seemed like they had the right guy that was going to grow into the job. Like where I think Love is different. Like I would say Love
No,
would be more.
Like I said, I feel very, very good about Love being the quarterback. Like I'm not trying to be like
Mike, he's the
I'm just saying,
guy.
there's a chance that he still isn't. You know, he's not Aaron Rodgers who's 17 years into this that oh, when he gets out there, he's gonna be able to throw the ball and fucking put it wherever he wants. He's not that yet. He's not Mahomes, who's been in the league for, I don't know, 8 years, whatever it is.
Yeah,
That,
I
like,
just think
he's a dude.
I think with the way Love plays, like it's not very gimmicky. Where I don't want to say like Kaepernick and
Kaepernick felt gimmicky for sure, like, right? Because you have so much of the running piece of it.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess a good
And Mac
example.
Jones, and like if you're watching Mac Jones, if it's all check down stuff, the way, and even really the way Brady played, like a lot of check down stuff, if he's playing like that, like that's more gimmicky. Like my offensive scheme is better than yours.
Yeah. No, I mean, you ain't wrong. There's the Carson Wentz's of the world, and there's
Yeah, Carson's a good example too.
other stuff like that. But yeah,
And there's other guys too. Those are just examples that like right off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I don't think you think that, but whatever. We can.
I like Jordan Love. I think he will be the quarterback for the next 15 years. I just can't say that if it doesn't happen, I will be completely and utterly stunned.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I will be completely and utterly stunned. I love you, Jordan Love. Mike doesn't quite feel the same way about you yet, but go get us that Super Bowl.
Yeah, then I'll change my mind.
Yeah, if we want to just do quick Bucks tap in, it hasn't looked too great since our last show. So we've declared the Pacers our biggest rival, right? We decided that.
I've decided that the Bucks don't care about those fucking bums.
So we lose to them 122-113 in Milwaukee. Then we lose to them 142-130 in Indianapolis. Beat San Antonio 125-121. which they're not the greatest team. And then we lose to the Houston Rockets. And I couldn't tell you if Houston's good. They got a winning record. They're 18-16. So like we've been saying, we will keep saying is we'll get more into that stuff once the football season is over, especially Wisconsin men's basketball. We'll get more into that as well. So I couldn't even tell you what the Badgers men did this week. Do you got that off the top of your head?
Right off, last I saw they were 9-2, and I'm sure they had a game or two inside of that.
Yeah,
they beat Nebraska pretty bad. Beat them by like 16, but I don't.
Yeah, whatever. We will give you a Badgers update. We'll probably bring a Badgers basketball guy on to give you your keys to make it look like you've been watching them the whole season. And yeah, that's
not the cheese. We're not going to give them the cheese.
Oh, we'll give them the cheese to do that. But as always, we love you guys. We appreciate the support. If you could like, share, subscribe, we really appreciate that. And what do you got for them, Mike?
If you're down with the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.